And we could be a great resource to them if we would just try to do that. And here's the problem, and this is a problem not with our church, but with every church. It's not a problem. Here's what happens. Lots of people come in, but lots of people go out. You follow? We got to figure out a way to shut the back door. I hate to say it that way. We got to figure out a way to lock those puppies in. No, we got to figure out a way to keep them. You follow? Keep them with us. See, that's what the point is. Because it's easy now. There's no denominational loyalty. Well, if you're going to do that, if you're going to dip that bread in that wine, I'm getting out of here. I'm going down here where, they give you real wine. So, you follow what I'm saying? Okay. Now, in light of all this, I want to make this really, really important announcement, and that's this. Although this church is involved in tons of ministries and this congregation, you've allowed me to serve it, I've come to the conclusion of this. The biggest ministry of this church, I can't do it. I'm not equipped to do it. I don't even have the connections to do it. I wish I could do it. I wish I could be the one who could do this ministry. But I'm just not the one who can do the job. I can't do the job. Somebody's going to have to do it. Somebody's going to have to do the biggest job of this church. The biggest ministry that we're supposed to be doing, somebody's going to have to do it, and it can't be me, and I tell you, it can't be Huey. But the person who can do the job is here. That person is in this room today. What is the biggest ministry of this church? Here's what Matthew says. You are the salt of the earth. But if the salt loses its saltiness, how can it become salty again? It's no longer good for anything except to be thrown out and trampled underfoot. You are the light of the world, and a town built on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on a stand and give it the light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before men. That way they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven. The biggest ministry in this church is to let our light shine. That's the biggest ministry we have. All these other ministries are fantastic. I'm certainly glad that we have youth programs. I'm glad I'm not the youth director, but I'm glad we have youth programs and all those kinds of things. And you can say, well, listen, aren't we already doing that kind of way? We have UMW, we have youth programs, we have children's programs, we have all those kinds of things. However, listen to this. During any given week, there's a thing called project. That's the second half. Something project. Anyway, the point of that, you can get the statistics of this area. 35802. Most of the people, in spite of what's going on, most of the people in this 35802 are not going to this church. They're not going to any church. The majority of the people are not going not only to this church, they're not going to, and even though we may bask in this light of Jesus every day, you and I, people don't see it because imagine this place to be kind of a bowl. And we can kind of sit in this bowl, and the ministry that happens, here, we got to get the light out. You follow what I'm trying to get you to see? That we got to get out from under this bowl. We got to either crank it up or do something so the light gets out. So who's supposed to do the shining? Well, there's this great little story that says, there was an important job to be done, and everybody was asked to do it. Everybody was sure that somebody would do it, and anybody could have done it, but nobody did it. Now, somebody got angry about that because it was everybody's job, and everybody thought anybody could have done it, but nobody realized that everybody wouldn't do it. So it ended up that everybody blamed somebody when nobody did what anybody could have done. Whose job is it for this big challenge to get out there? Well, let me tell you this. It's important to remember the context of what Jesus was talking about, the light. He wasn't talking to the staff. He wasn't talking to the 12 disciples. He was talking to the people on the hill who were listening to him. You are the light of the earth, of the world. You don't put your light under a bushel or under a bubble. Let your light shine. See, Jesus was an encourager, a cheerleader, did all those things. But the real ministry of the church, I promise you this is the truth, the real ministry of the church was done by regular people, just by regular old people. That's what it was done. And so it's the same way today. I can cheer you on, jump up and down, say, go, get him, all for Latham, stand up and holler. I can do all that kind of stuff. But the point of the matter is you still have to do it. You still have to do it. So how can we do that? Let me tell you, like I told you at the very beginning. You're the one who spends time at the Arsenal, and you're the one who spends time at, all these places, NASA, and go to Huntsville High and Grissom and UAH, and you're the one who goes out. You have those kind of contacts. I don't belong to the local clubs. You're the one who does that. And so you have the opportunity to reach these people who are not attending or who doesn't want to have anything to do with us or they don't like us very much. See, because listen, the real point is this. The real point is that he and I have a relationship. We talk. I don't dump Jesus on him. I start to come on over, you don't eat too much, do you? Come on over, have a meal. I'd like to have you. Or let's go out to eat today, or you go to the Stars game. That's the way it has to happen. It has to happen by relationships. You can't just build a building and have a gym and say, come on down. If you build it, they may not come. That's the way it is. You know what? Let me tell you what. I'll just give you this quickly. Everybody does statistics. You know how people come to Christ? 1% come from an evangelistic crusade. I thought Billy Graham was saving them all. 3% come to church service. Now, let me tell you something. That kind of offends me. The 6%, talk about offense, 6% come from their pastor. I'm only leading 6% of the people to Christ. You know where most of the people who come to Christ, you know who leads them? You. 78% of the people who come to Christ come from a friend, come by way of a friend. 78%. So, here's the question. How do we start this thing up? Well, as a church under this bushel, I'm going to help you fan the flame. This bubble, I'm going to help you fan this flame. In fact, we're going to throw out this new ministry. We're calling it Life Tree Cafe. This is not a sell for Life Tree Cafe. I'm just showing you one ministry that we do that can do the kind of thing that I'm talking about. It's really like a conversation cafe. It's not a restaurant. We're not going to serve Rosie's Mexican lasagna, although I like it. We're just going to have coffee and snacks and those kind of things. And it's a conversation of people for 1 hour. In our case, it would be 6:30 to 7:30 on Thursdays. Sit around a table, sort of a table like this, and they have conversations about interesting topics. You follow? And in the conversation, God's message comes up. God's word comes up. In fact, you are part of that process. Now, I'm saying to you, you come on. Come and sit down in the Life Tree Cafe. Be a part of the conversation. Because, see, after you leave, you'll go out to people and say, I was in this great thing called Life Tree Cafe. And it might be of some help, or you might enjoy it. Okay? You don't even have to sing at Life Tree Cafe. I think if you come, you'll enjoy it and you'll invite your friends. No, let me tell you how this works. It has a feature story every week. Every week there's a feature story. And let me give you an example of one. I'm going to be a little late, but I've got to pump this up to you. There's a story of Viola Barrios. And she's a Mexican restaurant owner in San Antonio, Texas. And that was until her life got cut short. And here is a clip of the clip that was shown at the Life Tree Cafe. Take a look at this.
I started Los Barrios restaurant with $3,000 after the death of my father, who was killed in a traffic accident. April 24th, 2008, is during the fiesta here in San Antonio. We have a big fiesta. It's over 300 events, and we have people from all over the country to come. It's kind of San Antonio's version of Mardi Gras, but it's a family Mardi Gras. The next day, around, 10:30, I take the children to school, I come back, and it's about 10:30 or 11, my phone starts ringing, I don't get to it, my phone rings again, I'm like, who's trying to call me? You know, it's ringing, so I get over there and I get the phone, and my sister says, Mom's house is on fire, I'm here, get over here. So I get in the car, I take off, and I get on the mobile phone, and I'm talking to her, what's going on? Mom's car's not here, do you know where she's at? I said, didn't she go to her massage today? She goes, yeah, that must be it. That's why she's not here. No wonder. And I said, well, and she might have left a candle on or something, and maybe, it caught fire. Right about then, the firefighter came up to her and said, did your mother live here alone? And my sister said, yes. She said, well, there's an elderly lady that is deceased, and we are calling the police right now because it is now at this point it's a crime scene. I get to the house, and of course the media's there, and it turns out that somebody broke into my mom's house. Shot her in the head with a bow and arrow, stole her keys and her wallet, went and bought gasoline and came back and doused her bed and doused her body, lit it, closed the door, and they just left. As I was praying there, I said, Lord, I love you. I've given my heart to you, but this is pretty unbelievable to me that this is the way you decided to let Mom be taken. Woke up at 4 in the morning crying like a baby. That was the hardest night when I realized that the person that has loved me the most in my life was now gone. I was brokenhearted, but at the same time, I knew that, life on this earth is not guaranteed to anybody. Everybody's going to die. But I'm very grateful. I don't complain, and I don't question. I've learned not to question the ways or the judgments of the Lord. I don't question them. I just accept them.
Now, here's the interesting thing about this. There's a second part of this. This fellow, the killer of Violet, the son, was an 18-year-old kid. And Louis Barrio, this is the newspaper from that community, shocked the city. He stepped forward, forgave the killer. He even offered to pay the defense for the kid who killed him, because the family. Now, isn't that amazing? That's really doggone amazing. Now, listen. Can you see the kind of conversation we could have around this table about forgiveness? You see what we could do? We're not necessarily bringing up anything about Christ or anything. We're just saying, give me some instances. Could you think you could forgive in this way? And that conversation grows to eventually, with people like you who know Christ, talking to people who may not know Christ or have no interest at all in Christ, talking about how we can forgive people. And ultimately maybe even saying, here's what Jesus did for us to ultimately forgive us. And so this is where you come in. I'm kind of inviting you to be a part of this adventure. I'm inviting you to kind of join in the hour. You're going to have a great time, and you'll listen to other people. We're going to provide the training this Thursday night. Is the beginning training. We're going to have some more training. There is some of our folks have been to Lifetree in Chattanooga. Raise your hand if you've been to Lifetree in Chattanooga. There you go. Some of our people have been to Lifetree in Chattanooga. They can say all the Lifetrees do all the same thing every week. So if you miss one here, you can go to Chattanooga, get on the choo-choo, and then go to Lifetree. We're going to do all the training. Or there are a bunch of teams that set this up. We're going to do it in the Welcome Center. You see how cool the Welcome Center is right now. Once we put the tables in there, and then we're going to start it. And every Thursday at 6:30, we're going to have this thing called Lifetree Cafe.